cost.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to the Man Show. You guys, Nick just posted a video, right? He did eat, I'm sorry, but he did eat some ghost pepper. He was a baby. He did not finish the whole challenge. Nick, what the heck is wrong with you, man?
That is why we
You're a loser.
them to take action to alleviate the burden for Canadians. At the same time, as we're working on our end at making credit more available and less expensive for Canadians to be able to make it through the next few months.
Because...
Good morning, Prime Minister Janet Silver, Global News. Global News has learned that the Trump administration wants to have U.S. military troops stationed within 30 kilometers
But I need my God, dude.
U.S. border.
Nick, you have to finish the challenge. And, but you know, guys, you have to, and you have to, some of this or that, whatever case may be, Nick.
Canada and the United States have the longest unmilitarized border in the world, and it is very much in both of our interests for it to remain that way. We have been in discussions with the United States on this. Canada and
the United States have the longest unmilitarized border in the world, and it is in our interests, the interests of both countries, to keep it that way. We are in discussion with the United States on that very issue.
Prime Minister Molly Thomas, CTV National News. Can you give us a little bit more clarity on that? I mean, what does it mean?
Because, you know, Nick, you're a piece of crap, man.
We have highlighted that the fact that the Canada-U.S. border is the longest unmilitarized border in the world is something that has benefited our two countries and our both economies.
But, you know, Nick, I mean, Nick, you got a piece of crap, man.
That it needs to remain that way.
I want to ask about, there's more than 30,000 cases alone in New York. That's a state that borders parts of Ontario and Quebec. Would we ever ban essential goods or people coming?
But I mean, Nick, you are a piece of crap, man.
Always take measures that are necessary to protect.
Because you know what?
At the same time, we understand that part of protecting Canadians is ensuring a good supply of food, of medical supplies, of necessary equipment across our border. We will continue to look for ways to make sure we're keeping Canadians safe while providing us with the things we need.
Marika Walsh with the Globe and Mail. Prime Minister, on your call with the G20 leaders today, was there any discussion or decision made on the call from the UN for $2 billion in aid for developing countries to fight the coronavirus, including help with testing kits in Africa and other gear needed?
We talked about a number of things. We talked about the need for a coordinated global response. That is something that the G20 is particularly well suited to move forward on, to make sure that we're continuing to exchange information and align in the actions we take. We talked about the need to flatten the global curve of this pandemic, which means beyond just individual countries doing what's necessary for themselves, we need to work together to have an impact that goes beyond our borders. We talked about the need for global economic support for citizens, for businesses. The G20 represents 85% of the global GDP. We know that we have the capacity to
back in the day, not back in the day, but I mean, guys, you have to, apply.
We also talked about the need to
Because
help vulnerable
that's the bottom
countries
line,
that
right?
don't have either the science or the
I have,
systems to be
Nick is a big loser. That's what he is. But I don't forget it. Well, losing Nick the avocado is because back in the day, there were, I mean, back in the day, I mean, but for me, personally, no.
So does that mean that you just...
But I mean, my God, Nick, my God, dude, you have to learn from this, beyond this. So that's the bottom line for me anyway. But Nick, I love Canada too, man.
We know that support for vulnerable countries who are struggling with the ability to combat this virus is not just about being altruistic, it's about protecting Canadians as well. this virus will possibly face resurgences even
No, guys.
in Canada
Like avocado.
and countries.
Our borders have been closed.
Those resurgences will be linked to our ability to help and
So the STO,
with countries in more dire situations. Nous reconnaissons que
because that was,
participating in global
you know, our borders been closed, but I don't mind that.
it's not just a question of
I want to go for it. I can,
it's a question
you know, some guys will say, okay, just,
we know that preventing
I love,
resurgence
you know,
of
touch
the
women
virus
or
in
whatever.
several months
But, you know, I mean, I want to go for the big titties and all that, but, you know.
will require concrete
But, you know,
action in vulnerable countries right now. And that's why we want to participate in the
but
UN's efforts to
I
help
do a challenge. I mean, I will take out the video I did. I will take down the breakfast.
And that is the Prime Minister of Canada giving us his daily update from
The breakfast quarantine, whatever they call it in Canada.
is actually officially over, but we don't really
I might take it. I might take it down because you know people can watch it.
But that's what we have been told.
Because
So a few bits of news there from the Prime Minister. The main
because right now
reiterating the benefit that is now going to be
it has to. It's got to be done. It always has to be done because that video is not. Well, I will take it off, but you know I don't leave it there now. It's the other way to watch it. I will take it off. Because that has to be, you know, for people to, you know, to understand. You know, for myself. No.
It sounded like he essentially confirmed the report and he emphasized his sort of
for me,
discussion so far was that
especially for myself, oh my God, man.
demilitarized border
And that's the bottom line.
advantageous to keep it that way, that it's their desire to keep it that way. So that does confirm that those discussions are taking place, and it does also present, I guess,
I know what the heck is going on these days.
complexities for this government to
What the heck is going on?
that border right now and the relationship with the United States. We had just prior to this press conference been talking about whether or not Canada would take more aggressive measures at the border, given the rhetoric coming from the White House right now about reopening the economy. And so far, and the Prime Minister was asked about that as well, and sort of refrained again from saying more aggressive measures were even being considered, and instead highlighted the integration
I love women with nudity, whatever. Don't mind that because, you know.
Between the two countries, something he did again when answering the question about the possibility of the border being militarized. I think it'll be interesting.
I mean, my God, dude, you have to.
Is the U.S. considering doing so? And my understanding from the report from Global was that it had to do with people who are crossing in between points of entry. My understanding also last week was that the number of those had decreased a bit, though there were still people. We know that the two countries, as part of the agreement to restrict the border, had also made an agreement to turn anyone back. So that was a major shift in policy for this government too, because we had been taking people who were walking in between those official points of entry, and they were going through the asylum system in this country, so that agreement made
My God, dude.
so that they would be turned back to the United States should they do that. So
Because
curious to find out exactly what the justification is for needing a greater military presence, especially one that happens to be, would it take the form, for example, of boots on the ground versus the ability to use drones or air surveillance or things of that nature? Okay, let me turn to Parliament. I'll go to you on the Quarantine Act, whereas the message yesterday was a little bit confusing or very confusing. Today, much clearer from the Prime Minister in terms of why they're doing this and what the expectation is. Yeah, saying again and again, basically, that many people have been following the rules, but a significant enough number haven't that they felt they needed to enact this. Was, as we've heard pressed many times, on whether or not he essentially should have given people that opportunity not to follow the rules. I know we've been reporting here on CBC News stories of, for instance, RVs lined up in border towns that come across from the border. All these people stopped at a Walmart or something like that in order to get groceries and supplies.
For myself, I mean.
Not what we want to see. And talking about the consequences now, in many cases, fines up to $750,000, 6 months of jail time. They're actually actually more extreme instances, more extreme
Because, you
crimes.
know, I mean, my God, dude, I don't want this to be out.
Someone's life. A moment that I thought was interesting too, he was asked, are you encouraging Canadians to report on one another? He said public health is going to be doing the follow-up. We know from
Because-
John's interview yesterday on Power Politics with Carla Quattro, the minister actually said they don't necessarily have the resources to check up on everybody all the time. This is going to be spot checks. It's going to be randomized. But he said enforcement is going to happen, whether it's through police officers or some other sort of enforcement officer. It's interesting to note, Vashi, yesterday we were speaking to the Nova Scotia RCMP because, of course, Nova Scotia...
Because that's the bottom line, right?
If you're crossing into the provincial boundaries, you also have to self-isolate for 14 days. Police there say that they haven't issued a ticket yet. This has been going on since Sunday. They're just trying to educate people, and this is not just about border crossing, but about social distancing as well. So one of the questions in all of this is going to be, how will it be enforced? How aggressively will it be enforced? But what is clear is the message: go home, stay home, do not pass go. And there are people, I should say, ratting out their neighbors. There was a story this morning on the radio. There was a gathering across the river in Gatineau. I guess a neighbor called. It was noisy, but there were 6 people in an apartment. Police came, they were fined for the noise, and they were fined for the gathering. So it's not like it's not happening, and it's not like you can't actually, authorities won't come and enforce if needed. Okay.
But I mean, my God, dude, I mean, I don't understand this.
This issue of people coming across the border, coming back into the country, and not self-isolating for 14 days.
But I mean, my God, you must have...
Under the quarantine act, and Dave Seguin's has been digging into this, and indeed found some people who are not being upfront about their symptoms, Dave, and getting on flights even if they're trying to get back home.
Well, I've been looking specifically into the air flight regulations, and it's interesting the government's prepared to take mandatory legal measures to quarantine people once they arrive here. But the measures before you get on the airplane, when you're abroad and trying to get back to Canada, those are voluntary. It's an honor system, and people are cheating it. And you can kind of understand why. We're in the middle of a global pandemic. People are growing.
I mean, my God, dude, you gotta understand.
You know, you're away from family, you're away from Canadian healthcare, you're probably in a part of the world that isn't your comfort zone, and you want to get back. And if you're faced with only 3 questions of, you know, are you feeling fever, sore throat, have you been banned from flight before, we're learning people are tempted to be dishonest.
You have to be honest with yourself, Nick.
So,
I know women too as well, but I mean, my God, it has to be, you know.
They're not willing to take any sort of mandatory measures, no testing for fevers or physical tests that would screen passengers before they get on the planes. And we're hearing from flight attendants and passengers aboard those planes who are very worried about people with extreme symptoms who are on flights.
But
they are being exposed on
you know,
and we're learning also that air flight attendants, some are.
But I mean, my God, dude, you have to
we assume
understand.
Exposure is at work, so it's a really complex.
What did I get down on it? No, yet.
The advice from the Prime Minister is don't get on a flight, but there is nothing really preventing people from keeping their symptoms hidden, assuming they can physically.
Yeah, of course, when they get here, they will have to be under quarantine, and that will somehow be monitored and enforced. But as
because they have to.
Issue, and a lot to expect as well from the airlines themselves to do these.
Well, that's the bottom line.
Thank you.
Right.
In Toronto, I think we actually have, before I go to Dr. Peter Lynn, I think we actually have the declaration that you now will have to agree to when you come back into this country, because it does look slightly different than if you have been through customs or across the border lately. This is what it says now. I acknowledge that I must self-isolate for 14 days to prevent the potential spread of COVID-19. So
but I mean, my God, dude, you have to understand. You know, I'll probably go to my room right now, but I got to do this.
Dr. Peter Lynn in Toronto is, of course, a regular CBC News medical contributor as we wait for the cabinet ministers and public health officials to come forward. Dr. Lynn, obviously there is concern based on what Dave said once
because
some of these other stories we're hearing about snowbirds, for instance, coming back across the border and sort of going about their errands before they go home.
But I mean, my God, dude, I don't understand.
Is going to
I don't.
Hopefully it will when people hear this, but more importantly,
them, don't go over here, don't go over there, we'll take care of things. In other words, we're hoping that we don't need to use the police force.
Because, I love
We could use social
the
practices.
fact that
Another thing is when I was looking at the flights,
but the pandemic is hard, man.
everybody's got a mask on, and the stewardess actually has a mask on already. So here's a
And
situation.
for myself,
Masks are not good, not good. But perhaps now, for these flights that we're repatriating, maybe we just
but
need a mask.
somebody has to hit the chance this. I know that the United States had to wear the mask because this is so ridiculous. In Canada and the borders. But Donald Trump's a loser. Nick loves Trump. Nick Avocado, the freaking Trump fan, is a big, fat, stupid loser. He's a freaking Trump lover. Nick Avocado is a Trump lover. That's what he is. Nick Avocado, I love Trump. Trump's an asshole. Trump's a loser. The man has COVID-19, we're crying out loud, Nick. Come on, man, you a Trump lover. And, guys, peace out. God bless you all. Have a nice night. I'll probably take that video down tomorrow. I don't know. Peace out and God bless you all. Peace. Peace.